So the first story is that ABC is in a little bit of a shit show right now, to put it nicely. They are trying to find their new way in life. This is the final season for Scandal. This probably should be the final season for Grey's Anatomy. The middle,
So
this
we
is their final
pray.
season.
Yeah, it is the last season from the middle. And my wife actually saw the commercial that the middle is about to start its last season. She's like, oh, that's a great show. And I said, yeah, but don't you feel like it's run its course? She goes, yeah, it's probably run its course.
Yeah, they've been trying to get, these new things, new stuff going. The other one of the things they've had success with has been the Marvel properties, with the fact that they're both owned by Disney. With the launch of the series premiere on ABC of the Inhumans show and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I guess from what Beats said, they're not being canceled because Disney's like, no, don't cancel those shows.
Well, essentially what it is we know that we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spin out from the Marvel movies, and it launched and it did very well at first. And then it's had diminishing numbers going forward the last few seasons. It's about to start its 5th season. And a lot of people believe that it was going to get a 5th season strictly for the syndication aspect of it. Now, I've already seen it in syndication. I see it replay during the week on a couple different stations here and there. But usually syndication hits at about, if you hit 100 episodes, that's when you would normally get long-term syndication. And so the belief has been that they would at least get a short season for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to finish up the series, because the numbers haven't been incredible, even though the show, I think, has improved at least last season, since clearing up some of the Inhumans crap, for me, was not my favorite storyline. And it got a little bit more evolved when they got to Ghost Rider, and then they did the stuff with well, not the Hydra stuff, but I meant specifically the alternate reality thing where they were all trapped in the AI. And I don't remember the character's name now, but I'm just going to call her Alexa, so it pisses off anybody who has an Amazon product and is listening to this. But it seems like that's what she should have been. But they introduced that character, and so they had two distinct Ava. They had two distinct storylines last season, and they were both, I feel, stronger than what it had been for the 2 middle seasons of the show.
Yeah,
which is fine, but not really a huge success. They do have what was the introduction of the Inhumans show after Agent Carter had come and went. Agent Carter, again, had 1 season and then got canceled after 2nd season. Yeah, which is too bad, because I think Agent Carter was very beloved, and again was introduced from the movies, so had some crossover potential. Inhumans was supposed to be a Marvel film, and then eventually Feige just kind of like pushed it away. He's like, I don't really think we're going to do an Inhumans movie. So the TV people got it, Jeff Loeb, and it retained more under Marvel's control, under Ike Perlmutter, who is the head of Marvel Comics, versus the control that Feige has in Marvel Film Universe. They're like, yeah, well, Inhumans, we've already got them developing in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so we can kind of do a spin-off from that if we need to. So it made sense for it to be on the TV side. But then they got the guy who did Iron Fist, Scott Buck, to do this show. And Iron Fist has already been slammed by reviews, although it got a lot of watching. Slammed by reviews as being the worst of the Marvel Netflix shows. And that's because Scott Buck comes in and has to do the show in a very limited time and with a somewhat limited budget, and just does what he can with it. I don't want to crap too much on the guy, but I watched the whole season and it was a slog to get through. And the last 3 episodes took me forever to go back to, and that was only because I wanted to watch Defenders. And then in Inhumans, they decide that they're going to play in IMAX theaters the first 2 episodes to treat it like a movie, which would sound great as a, like, here's an exciting thing. See this movie and then watch these characters continue on TV. But the movie looked like shit because it was shot for TV. And it was, again, done in a rush, and Scott Buck didn't really step things up again. He basically, when he describes it, he said that I could do it fast, I could do it cheap, and so that's what I did. That's why they hired me. It's like, well, that's not really a great pitch for your IMAX premiere film that is also going to be one of your flagship shows for the season. So the reviews for Inhumans as a film were terrible, probably because people felt misled that it wasn't really a film. But they didn't improve when it went to TV. When people started watching it as a show, the reviews have been just as terrible. And it seemed like all along the way, everything has been, oh, this looks bad. Oh, this looks even worse. Oh, this is not getting any better. Like every time they would do, and they were putting out so much press for Inhumans over the last several months to hype it up for the movie. And every time you look at it, it's like, okay, well, they're going to have to clean this up, right? They're going to have to do something better with Medusa's hair, right? Yeah, we'll shave it. tanked across the board. And I think that's the problem, is that Disney is pushing Marvel on ABC with their properties, but the properties aren't really the best investments for ABC's channel.
Yeah.
So that is essentially what they're saying here, is that, yeah, we had to put this on. And it's not our fault that it sucks so bad. The people who own us said do it. It's like, oh God, there is a concert hall close to where I live. I'm not going to shit on the people because I haven't actually seen them, but the guy who created the concert hall gets all these really awesome bands there. Like, not like modern day bands, but classic rock bands. Like, you'll see Foreigner there, you'll see Styx, but still pretty big gets. And they play at this place. But because the guy who made it owns it, his sons, who have a band, get to be the opening act for all of these big bands every time that they play there. So it's a very powerful nepotism. It's like the Jacksons saying, okay, well, yeah, you want to have Michael, you got to take Tito too. Tito's in the deal, right? He's just wrapped up in it. Just a big Jackson burrito. That's what it feels like. It's, we own you and we want you to put our son's artwork up on the fridge just like it was good, like your kids, even though your kid's an award-winning painter and our kid is in 5th grade. That's kind of what Inhumans is right now at ABC, is they're looking at it as, we have to do this. Nobody wants to do this, and we know it's going to fuck things up for us. Yeah. So they've buried it on Fridays.
I'm going to save my talk on Inhumans for a little bit later because I'm going to talk about that in my Else view. But I want to talk about the other shows. I think some of the biggest frustrations for me and that they're feeling are with the fact that they are trying their hardest to rebrand or to get not necessarily TGIF back, but getting the comedies back. You know, because like we said, the middle's leaving. The middle's going to be done after this season. They've got the show The Mayor, which is premiering this week, which they did the early release on Hulu, and I watched, and that's really good. That,
yeah, they hyped it they hyped it up pretty good, and it looks like a pretty good quality half-hour show. Here's
what I will tell you of it. David Spade is at least in the pilot, and usually I do not like things David Spade is in. Not since Tommy Boy have I really enjoyed a David Spade.
I was going to say, you don't like Heather Locklear? Zing. Oh, sorry. No. Take that, Richie Sambora. No, I get you. He plays a smarmy asshole so well, and then he also does it on TV. But I get it. I get it.
Yeah, but he was really good in this, and I think it's because he's not playing so much smarmy, but just an asshole.
Right.
AKA a standard politician. But yeah, it was good. The other one that they talk about is The Good Doctor, the new, from the creators of House, the new medical drama starring Freddie Highmore. And this one, I'm like, all right, this is really good too, like with how they did everything. But the thing that has me worried, because they moved Shark Tank from Friday to Sunday, which is their Once Upon a Time slot, because Shark Tank eats all the shows that are around it. That Once Upon a Time is probably in trouble, especially since I saw that they retooled and they recast some of the characters to make them older for reasons that will be announced later on in the show.
I assume because some of the leads of the show had left already. Like, they were, one of the main actresses decided not to be on there anymore.
The only one that I've seen from paying attention is Henry the little kid.
Right.
He got recast. It is now being played by someone who's like 25, 30 years old.
Which is weird, because that Descendants too seemed to do pretty well for Disney and for ABC. They played it all over the place. Yeah, and it could be like the last season of Scrubs, where it's like, oh, we get a show about a bunch of also-rans or the next generation of these things. We don't really care about that. And the characters we were interested in are gone. Their stories are over, so this is a great jumping off point for me. My concern is, one of the things ABC did that was quite controversial was that they got rid of a show that seemed to be having quite a bit of success on Friday nights with Last Man Standing and Dr. Ken, which I don't know was as successful, but certainly held a good amount of numbers after with the lead-in to put it on Humans.
Did they get rid of Dr. Ken? Or is it
yeah, they both got canceled at the same time.
Okay.
They said we're doing away with our Friday night comedy block, so these shows no longer fit. And they didn't try to put them anywhere else. So, yeah. And Last Man Standing had a huge following of a certain type of people. And Tim Allen, being a more conservatively minded actor in Hollywood, was already something that people looked at as he's going to get blacklisted because he doesn't fit the liberal leaning norm, which I guess could be true, although it doesn't seem to have hurt his success throughout his entire career. It's a different world now, though. But those shows get moved to put on Inhumans, which it sounds like was maybe kind of forced on ABC. So ABC had to sit there and stand by the decision of like, yeah, we're we're getting rid of these shows because we have this new thing that we're doing and it just doesn't fit. But it sounds like that new thing was forced on them. And so they lost shows that were more successful because, as I understand it, Inhuman's numbers did not do as well as what Last Man Standing normally pulls.
Yeah.
So that's a real shitstorm for Disney to force that on them and to have their own network lose because of it.
Shall I tell you about the saving grace here? He said somewhat.
Saving Grace is already canceled. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, the saving grace for ABC, at least what they hope for, because we all know Ryan Seacrest needs another job because, I mean, he's still getting a couple days where he's getting a full 8 hours. So he has to fill that time up. They're bringing back American Idol, the show that ended, 2 years ago over at Fox.
Right.
To awful ratings, and they're getting great talent for the judges, and they're getting Ryan Seacrest back for the host. Love him or hate him, the dude works like crazy. He is the normal man's Chris Hardwick.
I'd see Chris Hardwick as the more normal, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, he's the everyman's Chris Hardwick.
If you mean Ryan... he's been with every man. Oh, sorry. No, one of the things I like about Seacrest is that he has a very good sense of humor about himself. He doesn't seem ego-driven because he knows he's the luckiest son of a bitch in the world. He got a gig and then that just ballooned out.
Once the other guy.
Once you scrape the Dunkelman barnacle off of you, and you just get to shine like a fucking golden knight. Yeah, that worked great. And he did the radio show. He took over for
Dick Van Dyke.
No, not Dick Van Dyke.
Sorry, Dick Clark.
Radio.
Dick Clark.
Dick Clark. In Detroit, we had Dick Burton, so I was really dating myself. But yeah, you got Ryan in for a Dick. You have all these things that he did, and he has worked extremely hard. But he also gave us the Kardashians. So fuck you, Ryan. Yeah, so they're bringing back American Idol, and they are bringing back a controversially, maybe slightly insane judge in Katy Perry, and then they're bringing us a 80s iconic judge with Lionel Richie, and then they're bringing us someone that I've never heard of, which is, I guess, there's Simon Cowell. I don't know.
So Luke Bryan, he's a country star.
Okay.
To compare this to The Voice, this is like having, and people are going to yell at me, but this is like having Katy Perry being your Miley Cyrus. Right there, people are going to yell at me because their album covers and all this other bullshit.
Well, because they actually have worked together, though. Katy Perry got her start singing backup for Miley.
Yeah, and then Lionel Richie is like Pharrell or Christina Aguilera, where it's, their time when they started first became popular was a little bit in the past. Now, granted, Lionel's was a little bit further, but by them. But then Luke Bryan is essentially like Shelton in this regards.
So what we don't get is a Matchbox 20. Thank God.
No, that's going to be season 2 after the ratings dip. Then they're going to bring in a fourth judge who's going to be like Adam Lambert.
They're worried about getting the show together, and it doesn't start until next March.
Tuesday.
Anyways.
Well, they start filming Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah. Here's how quick this stuff is getting thrown together. Luke Bryan closed the deal on September 24th to serve as a judge alongside Katy Perry, but the third slot remained open, later being filled by Richie. Yeah, it's like they're starting filming really soon. Like they're holding the auditions like within weeks, and I'm like, wait, what? That's like, all right, let's get the show going, and we'll put the actor in post sort of deal.
Yeah, I guess for some reason I thought, Idol is expected to premiere shortly after ABC's March 4th telecast of the Academy Awards, which is the broadest promotional platform the network has to offer. I guess that it makes sense that they would be filming earlier, but when they do when they want to get people to vote, that's usually they do that live.
Yes, I don't know if you ever watched American Idol, but there was the 2 parts that they did, much like they do with The Voice, where there's the blind auditions. So
right, this is where we get the She Bangs guy.
Yes, yeah, this is where they're going to be going around the country and they're going to be doing the auditions. And my friend from high school, she actually auditioned for American Idol numerous times and appeared on TV. Now, granted, she didn't get far because she said she was nervous, and I believe it because, she was a great singer and died way too young, car accident and all that. But she told me about some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I'm like, that's messed up. Like, to even get to the part where you come on and you sing in front of, then Simon Cowell and Paul Abdul and Randy Jackson, you got to go through, I believe it's 2 levels of producers. It's like low-level producers and then some higher-up producers, and then come back.
It's like blowing the roadies so you can get in the back and meet Poison. Not saying that I've done that, but I've met Poison. I have met Poison.
And also got gonorrhea.
Yeah, that's fucking Winger is what I got. And so, because you have to blow Winger to get to blow the roadie so that you can get backstage and meet Poison. Kip. It really isn't that much of a big deal. So no, I get that. But then when you watch the show, you see that they still let some of the worst performers come in for those things, because that's what it is. We're producing it to not give you just the cream of the crop, but also to give you the cream of the knot. Again,
so that's again because she auditioned 3 times. She auditioned when she was 17, 18, and 19, because you had to be, or maybe it was 16, 17, 18, because you had to be at least 16 to audition. It's like the first one that she told me about was when she was in Chicago, and she got denied, but yet you see all these other people, and I'm like, she's a better singer than that motherfucker. Like, why the hell? Whose dick did he suck to get on there?
Kip Winger.
And it's just, yeah, and it's just one of those things you realize, okay, yeah, like this is reality. They're looking at this for ratings. It's not just, well, oh yeah, this person was good, so let's bring him in front of Simon Cowell. They get their assistants on to judge the auditions, and you're like, oh yeah, I think Simon will like him. Okay, all right, how many people? Okay, we've reached our quota of good. Okay, next. Oh, I'm sorry, honey, try again next year. Next, she bang. You're brilliant. You're going on.
I mean, if you want to see a season where it feels like from the very beginning, the producers led someone down a fucking gold brick road to the win, watch the Scotty McCreery season, because from the very beginning, they are following this guy around. He's singing the same single line from the same country song over and over and over again. It was like they were beating it into us like a giant silver hammer. And then you watch, they made him feel like the underdog from episode 1, so that every victory, it was like this little shot of endorphins in you, like, ooh, the little guy's winning, and oh, he's still there, and oh, Scotty's so great. He was really never nearly as talented as some of the other people in that season. And I'm not saying that he isn't talented, but there were people that were so much better. But they built him up from the very beginning to make him, it seems, to be the winner. And I think that's where American Idol went to shit, is because they started to realize how to play the game, and it didn't matter what the voters were really there for. It's like, oh, you get to pick American Idol? No, we're picking your American Idol. And you call in and you pay your 99 cents a call or whatever. But realistically, we know who we're going to get. We're not going to get fucked again with another soul patch wearing motherfucker doing Ford commercials to make a break. We're not going to get hit with another fucking Ruben Studdard or whatever his name was from second season, a Clay Aiken runner-up. Bullshit. No, we're going to give you somebody that is wholesome, that we can control, that we can make our next Carrie Underwood from. And that's what American Idol started to be. And it was definitely about image, and it was definitely about marketability, and that's why The Voice started cleaning its clock.
Yeah, my hope is, honestly, with this whole thing, is that ABC will get their act together, bring us quality TV, because that's all I want from all the networks, is just quality TV. I don't care where it comes from.
For more on this Galactic Network podcast, go to gncast.com. That's GNCASTS.com.